Hello, what's up YouTube? Ron is with another tutorial, and in this tutorial I want to show you the reasons that's why every single photographer out there should learn how to use Capture One and the advantages you may really come across when you're trying to use Capture One as opposed to maybe using other software like Lightroom or maybe Camera Raw. So this is more of a more professional way to handle your photos, and you'll get better results when you use Capture One than when you use Camera Raw. And this is a tutorial for you. And before you can proceed, let me just request that you hit the like button on this video so that YouTube can push it or recommend it to more people out there. So we're just going to be doing a little bit of color grading and some tiny adjustments to this image, and we're going to be looking at the image way differently at the end of this tutorial. So hoping you're done hitting the like button on this video. Let's just proceed. So I just want to give you a brief information about this image. I took it some few months back last year, and you can see it is a raw file taken at ISO 160 and at f5, a raw file from my Canon 60 camera, and the shutter speed was 1 out of 100th of a second, and it was shot at f5. So just a brief information about this image. So before you can do anything to your image, you have to first of all look at it, and you look at what you have correct about the lighting before you can even proceed to color grading. So I usually get this question about what should be done first. So first look at your image and look for the errors you have to fix. For example, in the lighting, you can see this image is a little bit overexposed. I hope you can see this. And maybe you could try to get rid of this, and under the retouching we are going to get rid of these blemishes and fix the makeup inconsistencies, and we are going to be fixing the skin tone variations in Capture One. So, and that is more of the major emphasis for today's tutorial. So in Capture One, you may be having your interface looking somehow differently or different from mine, and if at all you don't have some panels in your Capture One, you can just come and right click on these adjustments, and you come to add tool, and you can come and add any tool that you're missing in your Capture One. And if at all your window is looking a little bit different from mine, you can just come and fix that by coming to window, you come to workspace, and you come to migration. That's why mine is on the right hand side right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come right here to my exposure, and I first of all fix my exposure issue because I feel like the image is a little bit overexposed. I'm just going to use Ctrl plus or Command plus to zoom in. So I'm just going to take my exposure down just like that until I feel like I have the correct or right exposure for this image. Then after I feel like I have some tones of white and white areas within the highlights of the image, just going to come to the highlights and take my highlights down and do the same for my white. So what this does, it is going to help me, you can see the before and after for just that adjustment by just toggling this on and off, and you can see the before and after for our exposure. I'm just going to, so oops, I just had to reset that. I'm just going to undo that. So after taking down the exposure, I'm just going to do the same for my highlights and do the same for my whites, and this is going to get back most of the information that was blown out in the image. I'm just going to reduce this one more stop until I feel like I have the correct exposure for this image. So you can see right now where we started. This is the before and where we are right now, and we have back the information, and it is the advantage of shooting in RAW. And I'm just going to come to my shadows and slightly open up my shadows a little bit and come and add some kind of blacks. That looks fine. So I'm just going to come to my levels and first of all add contrast. So I'm just going to take up my blacks just like that, and also open up my whites just a little bit. But as you're doing all this, always make sure to turn on the exposure one, because you want to see those areas that have been really, or the areas that are clipping in your images. So that is another advantage of using Capture One as a retouching or color grading or raw processing software. So because when you leave this on it means that every area that is clipping or overexposed is going to be showing some red mask around it. So after doing that, I tend to add some tiny bit of clarity of around 4 to my images, and this is all for the basic adjustments, or this is all I do to do the basic corrections with the lighting of my images in Capture One. And after doing that, like in Photoshop, we also have levels, or we also have layers rather, in Capture One. So in Capture One, if at all you want to add a layer, you have to come right above here in the layer panel or in the layer window and simply right click. Just come here and right click to add a new field adjustment layer. So just come and add a new field adjustment layer. So it is on this layer that we are going to be doing the color grading or correcting of the skin tone inconsistencies in Capture One. So I'm just going to add this or rename it to tone skin tone color grading. So what we want to do right now, we just want to do or work on the skin. So in order to work on the skin area, we're just going to come to where it says color editor, and if at all you don't have the color editor option in your Capture One, simply right click anywhere within this window and you're going to come and add that tool. So that is how we do it in Capture One. So in this color editor option, we have basic, advanced, and we have skin tone. But for this case, I prefer to use the skin tone and I don't tamper with the advanced, or I do less with the basic option. So I first of all handle my skin tone color before I come back to maybe change the outfit color and the background so that it can blend well within the image. So I'm just going to come to skin tone, and when you come right here, you have your color picker tool or an eyedropper tool automatically selected for you. So when you click on that, you have to zoom into the image, so you look at the colors that you want to deal with in the photo. So for this case, you have to look for the image or look at the image and you'll be like, you want to pick a specific color that you want the rest of the image to look like. So just look for that kind of reference color and you just use your eyedropper tool and click on that color. So for instance, in this image, I feel like I want the skin of the model to look, because I know her skin color, or you have to take that into consideration. You look at the way the skin of the model was looking like at the time you're shooting your images. So I'm just going to come and I look for an area, a reference point. So I'm just going to click right there, and this is going to show you the sample area or the sample color range of that area. And when you scroll down and you come and click on view selected color range and use command minus to zoom out, you can see all the skin has been sampled or selected. And when you turn it off, you can see right now it activates all the other colors. When you turn it on, you can see that it shows you the sampled area of the skin. So I'm just going to use Control Command Plus and turn this off. So we just want to hue these colors. You can see these other colors that are not resembling the original or the rest of the skin, so that they can look like the sampled area. Remember, we just sampled right here. So we just want to come to this. This is the most important step in color grading portraits in Capture One. So you can see we have uniformity right here, and when we start moving the hue slider towards the right hand side, you can see that we tend, or we start having the skin trying to look a little bit more uniform. And we're going to come and do the same for our saturation. So we're just going to turn it up slightly. And as we're doing this, you can see the skin is now turning out to look a little bit more uniform than it was before. So we're just going to continue taking the uniformity slider up slightly so that we can have a more uniform looking skin. And you're just going to take a saturation a little bit higher, and this looks a little bit more uniform for my taste. This is more like what I'm trying to go in for. So let's turn this on and off. You see what I'm trying to mean. So you can see before and what we have right now. Before, look at this area right there and you can see the after. But as we're doing that, it tends to change the original color of the lipstick and maybe the eyeshadow of the model. So what we have to do in this case is we have to eliminate the color grading from those areas, for example the eyes or even the eyeshadow. So you're just going to come to our eraser tool, and this is going to eliminate the color grading from those areas. So you're just going to use it, and you can use the open and close brackets on the keyboard to increase or decrease on the size of your eraser tool, and just come and start painting just like that. Or you can as well activate by using M for the mask on the keyboard and just eliminate the color grading from those areas that you don't want to be affected. And like I said, we don't want the color grading on the eyes or maybe the eyeshadow. I'm just going to come and eliminate the color grading from those specific areas. I'm just going to come this other eye and also erase the color grading from those areas just like that. So I think this looks good, or it even looks great. So I'm just going to use Command minus to zoom out, and now hit M on the keyboard to deactivate my mask, and you can see the before and the after for the color grading. So after doing that, the next thing I told you, I want to come back to this color editor tool and come to the basic color correction. So we have been able to match the skin tone, and now we just want to fine-tune the color grading of this image. And in order to do that, we're going to first of all come to our oranges, and we can play around with the hue values of the oranges because her skin looks a little bit more red in color, and we just want to eliminate that redness, and we're just going to take the hues up slightly just like that. And as we're doing this, the skin tends to look a little bit more uniform, and we're just going to desaturate or slightly reduce on the saturation of our oranges just by a tiny bit. And you're going to come to the reds and also hue the reds towards the oranges, and this looks quite better. So after doing all that, the next thing we just want to handle is coming to our lightness of the oranges, and you're just going to take down the lightness slightly. Don't take it overboard because that is too much and it won't look good. So just take it slightly down to around negative 52, around negative 4.9 rather. And I think this looks good, but I really want the model to blend with the background, and what I'm going to do in this case is come into the greens and simply see what works best for me. So that looks fine, but I don't want an over vibrant green within the background. I'm just going to take this down, and this makes this really blend in quite well because her jacket is really complementing with the background. I'm just going to also take the saturation a little bit lower, and after doing that, I'm just going to come to my blues and I'm going to hue the blues slightly. I think this looks good, and also come to the hues of the aquas and simply hue it down slightly. So we can see right now the before and after so far for this image. This is the after and this is the before after. I hope you can see how nice and beautiful this is turning out to be or to look. We are going now to come and turn off the before and after, and the next thing that we want to do is we are going to come to our temperature slider of the color grading and simply knock down the warmth of this image, and this looks great. But I feel like we still have so many whites in the skin tone of the model. So with our color grading selected, you're just going to come to the whites and simply take those whites down, and you can as well take down the exposure just a little bit more, or the highlights, and this is going to look great. So you can see how nice and easy Capture One is, but I feel like the jacket is a little bit too much for my liking. So I'm just going to come and see what works best for me as regarding to the jacket color. So I'm just going to slightly take the hues down and now come to this side and see what works best for me. So I think taking this down is going to be a little bit better. So this is what we have right now, and you can see our before and after by just moving this slider. So you can as well come and simply copy and paste your adjustments to another image if at all you really want, by just coming to adjustments and you come to copy adjustments and paste them on a way different image. So this is why I really love Capture One. And if at all you feel like the color grading is a little bit high, and you can just come and take the color grading down depending on what you really want as the person doing the color grading on the image. So this is all for this tutorial, and if at all you have loved this, don't forget to like this video, don't forget to subscribe. If at all you have been watching and you haven't subscribed to this channel, Ronix from Ronix Photography, thanks for watching and see you yet another tutorial. Don't forget to keep practicing and keep creating.